When the HOA first approached me about selling the old quarry land behind my workshop, I told them straight up, it wasn't fit for houses. The ground had been excavated decades ago, filled with loose soil, and sat right above a natural spring. Every spring rain turned it into a muddy soup. I knew because I'd grown up here. My father and I used to dig drainage trenches just to keep our barn from sinking. But the HOA didn't want to hear it. They had investors lined up, architects drawing modern blueprints, and a vision for Hillside Estates, a luxury development that would supposedly redefine our small town's skyline. They showed me glossy renderings of clean driveways, glass balconies, and fancy names like Maple Ridge Court. The president of the HOA, a man named Doug, talked like he owned the entire valley. "This is the future," he said, tapping on the plans like a preacher on his Bible. "You don't want to be the guy who held back progress." I told him progress was fine, but the earth doesn't care about ambition. He laughed, said his engineers had done their studies, and left me standing there while their surveyors set up tripods and lasers near my fence line. Over the next months, I watched as trucks rolled in at sunrise and cranes began lifting steel skeletons into the air. The sound of hammers echoed across the valley like thunder. They dug deep foundations, but not deep enough. They didn't compact the soil properly, and I could see from my own yard that water was already seeping through the topsoil after every rain. I tried to warn them again. "You're building on a sponge," I told Doug one afternoon when I saw him at the construction site. He brushed the dust from his jacket and gave me a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Don't worry about us," he said. "We've got it under control." By autumn, the first row of homes was nearly finished. White walls, black trim, sleek and modern. They were stunning, I'll admit that. Realtors came out with drones to film aerial shots, calling it the most ambitious development in the region. Buyers lined up, eager to live near the new lakefront community the HOA had promised to build. But what no one mentioned was that the lakefront was actually the same spring-fed basin that had flooded this area for years. They simply called it a feature instead of a flaw. The first real sign of trouble came one night after a week of heavy rain. I woke to a low rumble and thought it was thunder, but when I looked outside, I saw the ground near the new houses had begun to slump. The lights from the construction site flickered as workers scrambled to check the retaining walls. By morning, 2 driveways had cracked clean down the middle, and the HOA had fenced off the area, claiming it was just surface settling. They said they'd fix it with a little reinforcement. But I knew better. Once the earth starts moving, it doesn't stop easily. Over the next few months, the HOA doubled down. They poured more concrete, reinforced the slopes, and installed massive drainage pipes to redirect runoff. I'd stand by my fence every morning, watching them try to fight nature with machinery. Doug would wave occasionally, pretending everything was fine, but the strain showed. The HOA was bleeding money. Repairs were eating into their budget, and homeowners were starting to notice water pooling in their basements. Some tried to back out of their purchases, but the contracts were ironclad. Then winter came, and the real disaster began. The spring froze, trapping water under the surface. When the thaw hit in March, the pressure forced the ground to buckle. One morning I walked out and saw a sight I'll never forget. One of the brand new homes had a crack running from the roof to the foundation wide enough to slide a hand through. The entire structure tilted slightly forward, like it was bowing to the inevitable. The HOA called in engineers, geologists, even the county inspector, but the verdict was the same: the land was unstable. The soil was shifting because of underground water flow. The homes were, quite literally, sinking. The HOA tried to silence the news. They threatened legal action against anyone posting photos online. But leaks spread fast in small towns. Videos surfaced of driveways caving in, fences leaning, and patios crumbling overnight. The local paper ran the headline, "Luxury Hillside Homes Cracking Apart." Doug held a press conference insisting everything was under control, but you could see the panic behind his smile.